Welcome to Meta State, second edition. Today we're going to talk about the Metaverse, and that's part of the reason why we created this newsletter, so that you could understand some of the business opportunities happening out there in the virtual world. It's hard to get your head around, and I've been looking at it for the last few months, but the numbers are staggering. We have a news industry that has about 1 trillion invested in it so far. Facebook, as you know, has now become Meta and has spent billions developing this technology. Today, we're going to look at one of the metaverses that's in existence called Sandbox. So Sandbox has 2 million users already, and there are about 300,000 active users with maybe around 30,000 active at any given time in this metaverse. So what is a metaverse? I mean, for lack of a better definition, it's an enhanced video game where you can walk around, interact with each other, have objectives and have recreation. So we're going to take a little bit of a look at it right now. And that way you can sort of get your feet wet as to what is going on and where the opportunities might lie. As appraisers at ADIS, we're looking at this as an opportunity for us. So you can play the video, and I'll narrate it as we go along. So Sandbox is, of course, what we're talking about today. You log in, you can log in using your wallet if you plan to spend money. There's lots of money to be spent there. And as you can see, you look around, and one of the first things you would do is choose an avatar. It's someone to represent you. So these are the avatars that are available. You can add things to them to make them a little bit more fancy or customized as you like. But essentially, we'll go with this guy who's got a tuxedo on, looks like sort of a James Bond character. Then, of course, what are you going to do with the avatar? So he can move around the metaverse. He can go into games. He can go into worlds where you can move around. There's objectives. There's people to interact with. So these are sort of an idea of the places. There's a nightclub. There's a dungeon. As you can see, these are some of the places to put your character. Now, what are NFTs? These are NFTs. So these NFTs, you can buy them. Yes, it's real money. And they can enhance your character and make the whole experience somewhat more enjoyable in the metaverse. And Snoop Dogg, of course, very heavily involved in Sandbox, and that kind of celebrity brings in a lot of other users and interest into the space. This land is virtual land. Believe it or not, we're actually thinking about investing in virtual land in the Sandbox metaverse. Why would you buy imaginary land? Like I said, it takes you a little bit of thinking to get your head around it. But quite frankly, I can see a benefit in business. Essentially, if you have land there, you have a place there. If there's other people there, 30,000 at a time, then there's traffic. So from a business perspective, to me, it makes sense. I'm not just saying I think it's going to go up in value, more than just that. But as you can see on the map here, we have a lot of companies already in place in the metaverse, names you recognize, Ubisoft, of course, Adidas. So these companies have decided to buy land there so they can be there. Essentially, from a business perspective, it's not that complicated. If you have traffic, potential customers, why would you not be there? In essence, a business might look at it as, why wouldn't I be on Robson Street? There's traffic there. If you think about it that way, it starts to make a little bit more sense. Here are some of the places that you can check out. I think we're going to go check out this nightclub. But there's, of course, other games and things you can do as well. This is more of the recreational side. I mean, let's face it, most of the people are going to be on here for recreation purposes. They're passing the time, they're sitting at home, and they want to have an experience. So this is a nightclub, of course. You see other characters there. Those are other people that you can interact with. You can have a conversation with them. Some of them might be real, people sitting at home, and some of them might be robots. So they have canned responses. There's things you can collect. That's part of the objective of the overall game that's taking place in the Sandbox world. And there's people you can have conversations with. Again, some are just robots. Maybe you're learning information from the other people or just like yourself. So those people are represented by avatars, just like you are. You can roll around, talk to them, dance, what have you. So this is more of a recreational space, but personally I see an opportunity coming where people will be actually engaged in consumer activities, not just running around and dancing like this. I could see a mall, I could see business decisions being made. As you can see, these NFTs on the wall. I think when you think of an NFT, you think of sort of that kind of art that's on the wall. I mean, it's a business right there to potentially look at that art and buy it. But I'm thinking that the business is going to become more in-depth. I actually think that you might get consulting here. You might be able to, buy things. I honestly think that this is a way that people across the world might come together in a business sense, using this as a medium. Having said that, we're not quite there yet. But, Mark Zuckerberg probably would not have invested billions in turning Facebook into Meta if he didn't see the business end coming. And, it was hard for me to actually understand in the Facebook world why it was worth so much until I realized that there's a lot of commerce taking place. So that's a brief glimpse as to what's happening in the metaverse today. In about a month, we're going to update you and let you know what we did about it and what our first steps were into this foray. Thanks for joining us.